Hi. I forgot half the shit I was going to tell you. As soon as I got off the last live stream, which was like less than an hour ago, I suddenly looked at my list. I was like, wait a minute, I have to finish the rest of it. Okay. We're back with Kenji. Kenji's old reliable. So, hi, nice to see you. I don't know if you caught the other one I did like 45 minutes ago. So this is interesting because maybe my live streams are possibly getting shorter and more of them. So maybe I'm going in the right direction. For those of you who have said your live streams are like 5 hours long. Okay. So I'm going to pick up, if you didn't see the one that I just did, which was about 2 hours long, I would encourage you after this one, go back and watch that one to see if you missed, to get the information that you missed. Because after I was talking about the financial system, and there are ways of operating. This was important information. That's why I wanted to come back and make sure that this part was tacked on. We're at a pivot point in terms of the development of, wait a minute, I'm gonna hang on a second. Where's my snake? I want to make sure he goes in the thumbnail. That's why. I'm going to let him go in, I don't know, like maybe another minute. Usually the thumbnails that they choose come from the first, I don't know, first 10 minutes or so of the tape. And I want to make sure that on the thumbnail, I have my animal with me so it's not just me. That's my big thing. I always want to make sure that there's more than just me. So we're at this pivot point between systems. We're at this crossroad between systems. And big choices are being made here. And so I think that most of us would agree, certainly if you're listening to me, you'd probably agree that the old system is crap. And there's a better way to do everything. So right now, the way that we're, my focus is how to get us there as quickly and in the most beneficial way as possible. And how to cut through the greatest degree of resistance, where everyone is in their own various stages of development, but there's a way to do it. So I wanted to give you an example from my own life, because as you know, if you've been following my work, and this is what I started to say in the last video, and I cut it off. Around late spring or early summer, so it's roughly a year ago, I had been working with somebody who the agreement had been that, anyway, I had a certain source of income that abruptly fell out. And my original tendency was first to be mad and kind of chase after it because I wanted that thing back because I felt it wasn't equal. And it wasn't. Well, it had been equal, whatever. There was equal given. We were going in the right direction. Nonetheless, it left me with, in a very, very bad situation where I don't have the luxury of dropping the job that I'm doing for the collective, which is what this person, I think, expected, thought that I should do this one thing. I don't have the luxury of doing that. It would cause further damage. It's a terrible idea. So I had, if this person's not going to play, what can you do? It was a partnership where what I was offering was not valued. It was a partnership that was, had a lot of elements of the third dimensional system, in that there were certain expectations that weren't entirely in agreement. I thought one thing was going to happen, and this person expected something else that I wasn't aware, whatever. Wanted a much more controlling system as opposed to a flowing system. Doesn't value flow as much, values control rather than flow. There is a tendency when we reach a crossroads like I reached last year, where suddenly my source of income was gone and I was scared because I had responsibilities, and I still have them. My first response is to go back and try to hold on to that thing where my perceived stability still was. It wasn't actually that stable, or it wouldn't have fallen out. It wouldn't have collapsed. But there's a tendency, because that supported us for a while, and it was our comfort zone for a while, and we had this idea. I had this idea or a belief, and it was also because this person did tell me that they were on board with it. It wasn't just my own idea. This was my business partner who said, yes, we're doing this. And because she wasn't honest with her expectations, or somehow something got lost in translation. She was not as committed to the goal as I was, but I was deeply committed to the goal. So I also know that I'm here to do something. I don't have the luxury of just saying, I think I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to get the job done one way or another is the point. The job being the upliftment of humanity. I'm not just going to drop it because I've got my own agenda. It's more comfortable for me here. I'm not going to do that. I deserve comfort too. Yes. I deserve security too. But the point being that when you come to these crossroads, one being the old system that was a perceived security, the way things have always been done. You tend to look back to the past to see how it's been done. The problem is, number one, you're always going to be on the wrong side of history. This is the problem with the legal system. If you're always looking backwards to see what the law is, and you're always going to be driving backwards. It turns into an eddy, and you don't get actual progress. This is part of the trap of the third dimension. So I found myself in this place where I had to get out of that crossroads a year ago. I had to get out of it in stages, because I suddenly was left with nothing or very little. The promises that I had been promised something that I didn't get again. My initial response was to clutch at it. And when I didn't, I went back to social services. And here's the thing. So here's what it takes us to now is that Those of us who are building the new system have been divinely unplugged, detached, intentionally unplugged from the old system where it's no longer working for us. This is actually what seems like a bad thing, like the bottom just fell out from under us. It seems like a bad thing when it first happens, because our perceived security is suddenly gone, and there's like a panic that a lot of us feel. That's understandable, but it also doesn't have to be this way. It serves a protective capacity, a protective mechanism, because it's as though it's like you're on the Titanic, which has before it hits anything, it seems pretty stable. And maybe you're somebody who likes luxury, and you like chandeliers, you like dining rooms, and you want to live someplace that has a dance floor and all your posh friends are there. And it seems like something you want to hold on to. The gift that Spirit has given those of us on, I don't mean to jump into some kind of separation, because it's not like we're a separate population, but nonetheless, there are those of us who are meant to go into this, help build the new foundational structure in the fifth dimension. Our higher selves know exactly what's happening. So it took made circumstances in our life so that basically, like, we're forced to leave the Titanic before it starts sinking, or before, as it's sinking, whatever, we get a lifeboat. And the tendency when we're in a lifeboat, if you compare that to the Titanic, it seems small and it seems flimsy. It seems like it's less sturdy. It seems like you kind of got the shit end of the stick. Like, how come they have all that? I'm telling you, we're in better shape. The people who are really gonna have the hardest time are the ones who are still clutching onto the Titanic. It's true. So the reason I wanted to come back onto this call today is because today something happened in my own life, yesterday and today, where I was really faced with yet another choice point. But fortunately, after a while, you kind of get good at this. Like, you learn how to navigate it when things are a little shifty. Where, for those of you who have followed me, you know that I went to social services for about the past year. I've been limping through social services for one reason or another, and like, it just never works. The windows get shut. They tell you to come back with a form again and again and again. You just filled it out. It's not working because it's not supposed to work. We're getting pinched out. Light workers, your higher self has a plan for you. I want you to hear that part. If the lower system is no longer working for you, it's because you're not supposed to be there. Bail. Now's the time to help build the lifeboat system. Get in there and put all your energy in there, because we need to reach a tipping point go look at the 100th monkey. If you're not familiar with what that is, go find it. The whole 100th monkey phenomena, we need to reach a tipping point where suddenly the top system is the dominant one. That's going to happen by virtue of critical mass. So what we really need to do, our best strategy to get everybody up and running there and have the new security system, it's secure because it functions a different way. It's a different kind of security, but it's not a locked in security, but it is still nevertheless much more secure. We need to be able to solidify that's Kenji knocking over the bell. We need to be able to solidify is not the right word either. It's some kind of a trellis formation where it provides enough support enough structure where all movement and connectivity, it's like a new grid. So the way we need to do that, because we're building something energetically, and energy precedes form. Energy precedes form. If you go form, if you try to mess around with the form, you're still working on the lateral level. So today, or yesterday, after, I should say, let me go back to that last week. Last week, I was in social services and I took my friend with me because every time I go there, something happens, and I was having such difficulty there. I felt I needed somebody else who is more still in contact with the lower system enough so that it would help me bridge that. So I took a friend with me to help me go through the paperwork and make sure to see if I could still get anything from here. Like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? It's not working. So she helped me. She came and we did the paperwork, and we met with a caseworker again who said, you still have to do, and I can't tell you how many times I've done this. It's not that I did it wrong. It's that the systems are intertwined to screw it up. It's a Mobius strip, Mongolian clusterfuck that no longer works. So I have known about the energy, about where you put your energy is what you're going to get. So I have been very careful, actually, about putting as much of my energy into 5 and keeping the bare minimum in 3. I've been doing that for a long time now. It would be best if I put all of my energy in 5, but I also lost the way it was optimally supposed to work with the people I was working with. That didn't work. So, okay, now it's like plan, I was going to say plan B, but it's like we're down the road now. It's constant readjustment. That is building a skill set that we need. It's building a skill set. So knowing that I'm kind of in the population, the leading edge of this whole thing, I'm not the only one, thank God. But there are some of us who are kind of, leading the charge in building this, so to speak, no pun intended, leading the charge to establishing the architecture, that's how I wanted to say it, establishing the architecture of the new system. I was really checking where I was putting my energy, and it occurred to me yesterday, there was yet another screw up with the paperwork at social services. So that is as 3-dimensional as it gets. So as much as I had tried to and thought I had, scrambled to get all the little piece of paper from the offices and the whatever, I got a letter that said, you're denied. And it's denied again, so you can't. I suddenly realized, it's like I knew it was a losing battle, but I thought, okay, you've reached the end of the pier. This is no longer even remotely supportive. It's not supportive. It's just your own belief system about the safety net that you think you need. And I thought, what would happen if I just jumped? And I suddenly realized that I am much more in alignment with a leap of faith that says what I have to do is summon all of my energy back from the crap holes where I was still saying, okay, I'll do it since you want it. Okay, I know this piece of paper is a crock of shit, but I'm going to fill out this form anyway, even though you have this information anyway, and why you need another duplicate from me, it's stupid. Here's the thing. If I know it's stupid, why don't I be a creator instead? And I should take all the energy that really in all the little places where I've allowed, okay, I'll give you a little, I'll go do this, I'll go do that, okay, I'll go do that. I thought, no. It's stealing way more than it's giving me. It hasn't given me anything. I have to fight for $135 a month. The whole thing is just not working. So I thought what I need to do is draw back all of my loose ends and put my money where my mouth is, because what I've been saying is we need to really commit to the 5th dimensional structure. We have that, it's already there, but what I really need to do is go full force and dive with authority into that system so that it's established in a way that is much more sound, so that I'm commanding it rather than being at the mercy of something that has nothing to offer. Or it does, but it won't, is the point. It won't. And I'm tired of begging for crumbs. Sorry to yell at you. I get loud when I'm emphatic, but I'm not mad. But I am determined. So I got this letter today. It's a packet of shit. It's a packet of paperwork shit that says we have denied you for blah, 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 blah. And if you want a hearing and if you want to challenge your denial, like, fuck you. No, I don't want to challenge you. I don't want to talk to you again. I want to leave you in the dirt in the closed offices where you apparently like it. But I don't. Actually, I don't think they like it either. But what's gonna have to happen in order for these people to get out, who are so determined that they're caught in a wheel. I'm not actually judging them, but it is a wheel. Most of them would leave, I think, if there was a system that they thought could work. So we'd better go make that one. So I'm here now to say what I decided is that I'm not going to go reapply. I'm not going to go begging for scraps. I'm not going to go back and say, you know, please, sir, can I have some more? No. I'm going to summon my profound creative ability, and I'm going to put, I was thinking, what would happen if I put 100% of my energy into creating what I know is true? Using that, all I have to do is pull in my people. It's my space army. Not mine, but you know what I mean? It's like my family. We're all here. We came here for planetary ascension. The clarion call went out to the galaxy. And here we are. So how much, I'm basically asking you, look at yourself and see how much of your energy you're still holding on to, because if there's a scale and it's 3 or 5, I personally think we could get to 5. All we need is enough people to pour more of their energy in this one, and I think we could reach the tipping point real fast, because we're at the tipping point. That's the thing. I think that if more people take their energy out of 3 and say, okay, I'm going to commit to being in 5, even, yes, it's a transition. It's a transition, and it's going to work differently for everybody. Yes, I'm just saying this is what I'm doing, because as of today, I realized how much, it occurred to me how much of my own creative energy and my commitment, I'm still like deferring. I guess that's that is really the pivot point. To what degree are you still willing to defer to what you know is a controlling, crappy system? Is it really something that you need to defer to, or are you just thinking that there's nothing else that's possible? I know perfectly well something else is possible. I've lived on a planet where it worked beautifully. I know how it's done. So I decided that I'm not going to do that anymore. And if that system wants to follow me, my door is open, and I'm willing to teach it everything I know. But it's going to have to open itself to suggestion, because I'm done filling out forms that say, please give me $5 for the month so that I can feed my kid. That's bullshit. And enough of us know that. If you're listening to this, you already know that. So to what degree are we deferring? So there's that. Don't double down on the Titanic to try, if you sense, and you've sensed for a long time that it's going down and you know it, but you don't know what else there is. Just because you don't know what else there is, you know that that side's the Titanic. And don't pretend you don't know it if you really know it. So don't waste any more energy trying to fortify or prop up a system that is, it's down. Help build the new. And the parts of the old that you really, really loved, if it's actually love-based, you can probably still have it in the new one. The danger is mistaking comfort or familiarity for safety. Watch out for that. Oh, this is the other thing I want to say. In the last live stream, I said I would prefer it if all sessions were paid. The opposite of that is also true. And oddly enough, that can happen. I had said I don't charge for some sessions. That's true. But the vast majority of my sessions are actually given for free. I charge for the people who pay are the ones who have money to pay. But every place that I see a glitch or a sticking point, it is worth just as much to unstick that person, because that person is part of my group, my collective. So if your leg is, if one of your feet is stuck in a glue trap that's nailed to the floor, and that foot doesn't have any money to pay you to unstick it, don't be stupid. Unstick it anyway. It makes more sense to have everything balanced so that you can just run naturally and everything is fluid. If someone can't pay and it's clear that they are actually in a stuck place, and if they weren't stuck, it would get everybody up and flowing. That flow matters to me, like, a lot. I want that. That is the new security to me. That's what I want. I'm going for it. I'm aiming for it. I'm hoping to get as many of you up there as possible. Here's the other thing I wanted to say. You know that so I don't want you to meet this with any fear. If it's possible, just hear it with ears of awareness. Because there are certain things I'm just very aware that right before any gigantic leap, because this is the place that we're at right now. We're right at the threshold. It's like the edge of the flock is already there. And we're just trying to get the rest of us up there and a little more stable. I just want you to be aware of something so that you'll know how to manage it if you happen to come across it. Because you may. I would like you to hear this. Okay, take the energy that is coming to you now and use it to just feel supported, so that if you encounter what I'm just about to tell you, you will be fearless. And it's just not going to bother you at all. I don't believe it actually will bother you. I just want to be able to say the facts so that you know. Right? So this is what happens. The same thing happens with an individual that happens with a large group. So you know that as an individual, sometimes right when we're at the cusp of making a gigantic leveling up, or even a small one, it's in proportion, in ratio, actually. Sometimes if you're a big, bright light, you're a big force for good, huge force of light, darkness doesn't want you. They will do things to sometimes try and prevent you. And what they tend to do, collectively as well as individually, is they will try to distract you and make it so you don't. They will do things around you to either distract you, so it's a rabbit trail, so you're called off of your goal, or they will, if they can't get to you, they will very often get to people in your immediate surroundings, so that there will be some sort of drama that erupts, that it feels like you have to go take care of that immediately. They will do something sometimes to, often, almost always, to try and pull you off your path. Another tactic they use is to do something that will elicit a fear-based reaction. So just because darkness comes at you and throws in a quarter doesn't mean you have to give them a gumball. If you know that you're, and as a group too, so this is why we're a particular threat, because the financial system doesn't want to lose us, doesn't want us to get out of despair. We've been a huge food source. Those that were despairing, those that were scared because they had no money, those that were homeless. We've been a huge food source of loose or, dark energy, negative energy. They don't want to lose that. So what tends to happen almost always is right when we get to this place where we're at now, right at the tipping point, and they think, oh shit, they're going over, they're crossing the threshold, they're getting away. There's going to be a big doubling down of, something like your social services will suddenly be denied. Like now it seems like you have nothing. If you give in to fear and say, okay, I'm going to double down on my paperwork. I'm going to do it extra hard. I promise I'll be good. I'll go back. Don't do that. I'm asking you to take the energy from this particular transmission, this one, which is coming through is confidence and forward. Oh, let's press on. Because all we have to do is get to the other side of the threshold. This is the belief barrier. All we have to do is collectively get on the other side of the belief barrier, and we have it. And not only do we have it individually, but we have it en masse. So there's your tipping point. One of us was the 100th monkey. This is what we're here for. This establishes more securely the architecture for the prolific circulation of joy and abundance of free-flowing love. This is what we wanted. And this is what we get. We just have to get on the other side of the threshold. So right now we're at the threshold. So I'm not going to go back to social services and beg for scraps. I want to talk about the walk of trust. So here's the other thing. I want to see if we can do this without also creating an enemy. I want to see if we can I was just about to say, like, juice the dark. Use the juice of the dark. Reframe whatever shows up in your life. Let's do this, because this is one way that we can utilize whatever comes at you, because it's going to come at you. Let's reframe the dark asshole that sends you an eviction notice, or the social services, or whatever explodes in your face. They're going to try and throw something at you that's going to divert you to get your attention off of and out of the propulsion of the group. They're going to try and divert us as a group by pulling us off individual by individual by individual, so that we lose the mass. But we need the mass. So don't get pulled off. This is what we need to do. in your individual life, because you're watched, angels are watching you, and the other forces are watching you too. So one way to diffuse the dark power is to don't add to it by viewing it as an enemy. Anything you resist persists. So you don't have to resist the darkness and feed it by viewing it as an enemy. If you get mad at it, if you get fearful at it, if you are annoyed at it, you're adding to that. So the thing you need to do is say, is view it, reframe it, utilize it, whatever, without changing it at all. You allow it to be what it is. And you say, you're a dark piece of crap. I'm not going to go do that. But I see that you are assisting me in the strength of my light. You're only as dark as you are because I'm as light as I am. So you would never meet anything that was as strong as it is if you were not equal to it. It couldn't even come into your awareness if you were not as a light source that was equal to that. And the way that you can use it to be your ally, to be an ally instead of an enemy, is see it as an ally in your development. You could actually, instead of saying you're a bastard, you could say, thank you for making me more sure of my own path. Thank you for showing me just how bright I am, because a really dark attack doesn't come if you're no threat. I met with somebody not too long ago who said, I think I'm being attacked. And they weren't being attacked. They weren't being attacked because they were so three-dimensional already that darkness has no reason to attack them at all. In this person's case, they were just going into old patterns, but that's different from dark attack. They were saying basically like, it's not my fault, it's dark attack, I'm being pulled backward into my comfort zone. But really, this person just really didn't want to get out of their comfort zone and was blaming dark attack for it. You're doing darkness's job for it. You're doing it so well, darkness is nowhere near you because you're no threat to darkness. You're already feeding into the old system, very predictably so. But darkness often comes and jumps on people who are just about to get through the barricade. And that's us. So just be aware of it and keep your focus and say, I'm going through this. Take all of the energy, summon your energy, and ask yourself where you're applying your own momentum. What system are you investing in? Because the system, if you're still investing in the Titanic, that's a lost cause anyway. It doesn't mean you will never get your chandeliers in the new system. You can still get your chandeliers in the new system. There is still riches in the third system, in the new system. In the stability will come from what you make it. But trying to insist that something has to work because you've invested in it for so long, that's another thing that's coming up now. So because we're at this pivot point, there's a tremendous amount of regret that I'm seeing in the population at large. Like, if I just work harder at it, I can get the old thing to work. You can't. It doesn't mean that the things that you loved so much, if it was genuine love that you felt, you can still have that. You can have that very quickly in 5, because manifestation is also much faster. So I think some of the regret that I'm seeing from the population is coming from people thinking that you know, like, it took so long to build the cathedral. Well, things moved a hell of a lot slower then. They move a lot faster in 5. So if you say, if you steal like an artist and you say, from the old system, I loved this and this and this, and the things that I want to have in the new, I want to take these parts. Great, do that. As long as it's built in genuine love rather than control. The only thing we really have to leave behind is something that was brittle, really inflexible, really controlling, and injustice. And that too. So it's still possible to have all your chandeliers and all your structure. All of the riches are still there. It's not like you're going to live on the lifeboat forever. The lifeboat from the Titanic is only to get to shore, and let's say there's an island right there. You just have to go. Let's say it wasn't an iceberg. It was a waterfall that the Titanic went down. You just have to, the insecure part is going from the perceived security of the Titanic, because it was awful big, and it does look really nice. But if you can just get into a lifeboat, be brave enough to get into a lifeboat, and then get to the island where it's fine. It's fine, and we're all there, plus 100 monkeys. We're all washing our sweet potatoes. It's going to be fine. The one thing I wanted to say about the walk of trust, yeah, acceleration. Hang on a minute. I'm debating with myself whether I should. Okay, I'm going to hold back on this one fact for a bit, but I am going to tell it to you later. This is the point. I'm just about to close this call, but this is the point where we must be the change we wish to see in the world. Just a minute, please. Just a minute. I'll take you out in a second. Be the change you wish to see in the world. We need to radiate that with such conviction, with such authority, with such conviction, not from a place, and it also has to be from a place of authenticity. If you fake conviction, sometimes that can work in certain circumstances, not a bad move. But in this case, you need to mind your truth. Pay attention to your truth. And you need to really ask yourself, where is my deepest truth? Where's my real truth? Where is that actually? And then serve yourself. Love yourself enough to feed the truth that is you. Don't feed the facade anymore. Because if you feed the facade, you're going to get more facade. If you take your energy and you put it into what really feels where your heart is, put it where your heart is. The new system is all based in love, and it's based in heart. And because that is such a strong, radiant field, that's what gives it its momentum, its authority. That is the structure. It's a love-based system. So you can't feed it from a place of pretend. Pretend is awesome for all kinds of things, and we're gonna need to utilize our imaginations a lot as a building mechanism. But for right now, where we are on the path, we're stepping over the threshold, and we need to generate, summon ourselves to our own authority as each individual, as a sovereign being that claims our space on the other side and says, this is my vote. I'm doing this. And then go do it. And as soon as it stabilizes what seems nebulous now, as soon as there's more stability, those who have been tepid are going to witness the stability and the success of the new system, and they will actually follow as well. That's the way it works. That's the second wave. But the first wave right now, the real light warriors who know how to do this, who know the system, the old system doesn't work, who trained for this, this is the time to maintain your focus. Pull in all your loose strands, summon yourself to your own authority, choose your conviction, you know, own your conviction, and go. And give as little of your, as little as you possibly can to deferring to anything that you know is false. Stop feeding it. And we've already won. That's cool. I love you. Okay, I have a session with somebody. I love you guys extra, 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 extra. Bye.